Is our skeleton really our skeleton? Or is it something we see as our skeleton, the way the word skeleton has been evolved and used throughout the time? Let's look at it. Yeah. Where does this word skeleton come from? Well, in the Greek language, skeleton means dried up or mummified, something in that sense. You can look it up. And this would indicate the body when it is dried up from its fluids. So a desiccated body, as you will. Now, we know when the body dries up and the moisture and the wet, the soft tissue is gone, of course we end up with bones. This is what we see in fossils and so forth. And later in Latin, this word is also used to describe something that is ripped from its flesh. Because of our anatomical knowledge, we used this term skeleton to the bone system. Throughout time has created in our minds that the bones is the framework of the body. In other words, a lot of people actually think that muscles are kind of attached to our bones. Like we are this being and we have a shield of bones and muscles, as if this is kind of like attached like a machine, but this is not the case. If we want to know this framework of the body, what do we actually need to know? If the bones truly are the framework of the body, then it should have been in place when it is conceived, right? Because if not, if the bones are not there yet, how does the body orient itself around these bones? Because these bones are the frameworks, right? This is where everything is attached to. Well, like I said, this is not the case. When we start our journey as a being, when we are fertilized, when the egg cell and the sperm cell, they come together, the first polarity is introduced into this being's life. A mechanism starts with this one cell inside of its case when it's still in the egg, or in the zona pellucida, should I say more officially. This journey is started with the introduction of the polarity, the sperm cell, which sets a mechanism in motion which won't stop anytime soon for most people. And this starts a journey which begins very fluidly. There's actually not much solid material yet in these fluids. It's just water, some fats which surround the cell and makes the cell membrane, a little bit of protein, a little bit of sugar, some ions like calcium, potassium and stuff, but not a lot. Actually, it's mostly water. And we know this because a baby is mostly water. We still contain mostly water, but this diminishes over time. And we know a baby feels very fluid, and we know a very old person not so fluid anymore. So during this time, the fluidity of our tissues becomes less and less. And why is this? Because our body needs to adapt to the forces that are present. And these forces, when it comes to an embryo, becomes larger and larger and larger. And the body, the cells, need to adapt to be able to restrain these forces. If not, the cell will die. So it doesn't really have a choice. It will adapt or die. This cell adapts and it secretes certain products from itself, creating fibers. And these fibers help to maintain a good balance. If these fibers were not there, this tissue won't be able to restrain the forces put on them. If there is stress or strain put on the system, it will adapt itself and become more dense, more ordered to be able to withstand these forces. And we can see this journey of becoming denser and denser. Blood, fascia, ligaments, tendons, cartilage, the different kinds of cartilage, bones, and teeth. What can you recognize? These all increase in density. So there's an order in this. Blood is very fluid, and teeth are the most dense. Bones, therefore, also have fluid trajectories in them. They're less dense than teeth, but bones are inside the body, teeth outside the body, but it's still connected to the body, so I guess teeth is also included. But you can see my point. The body gets denser and denser the more it has to resist these forces from the outside. Less motion, more force means densification, more order, and more solid particles sedimented in these delimited spaces. So as we now know, bones come only very lately in this journey. So if bones are almost the last new kid on the block, then why do we see the bones as a framework? If it was the framework for the body, it needed to have been there from day one, because a framework is something which you attach stuff to, which creates the order. But the bones come last. So what then creates this order? I won't go too much into detail. Actually, I will leave you with a question. A question which I hope sets off a spark of curiosity inside of you. This question is the following. Why are arteries always on the flexor side of a joint? Always on the flexor side of a joint. Think about it, be curious, morph well, be well. Maybe later I will come back to this and explain more. But for now, this is enough. See you.